Hey, what's up, patrons? I just got a message from one of my patrons, Alicia Reuter, and she said, "Hey, Ten Hun, I shot you a message on your YouTube channel about scissor and hydraulic lifts, but then later I joined Patreon. Maybe you can do a Patreon video on that, or at least let me know how that all works. Pricing, training before use, safety, pros and cons, and that sort of thing." Yeah, scissor lifts, hydraulic lifts. I don't know a whole ton about them, but I'll share everything that I know. The most affordable are the scissor lifts. I'll put an image on the screen right now, but they just go like straight up and down. They can drive forward, back, you know. I've never had any training on them. I think maybe you're supposed to have it, but I've always just like, there's been like a dude who's like, you know how this thing works, and just kind of shows me real quick. Like basically if you can play Pac-Man on an arcade machine, you could probably drive one of these things. It's just like a joystick. There's a little thing to go up and down. There's a little thing to kind of drive. It's super simple. As far as pricing goes on those, the most affordable one, I went on Herc Rentals website. The most affordable one is like $145 a day, and then like $350 for a week. So if you use it for more than 2 days, you should just get the weekly rate anyway. It'll save you money. Usually the client takes care of the lift rentals. I put that in my mural contract. Like a lot of times I provide the art supplies and all that stuff, but ladders and scissor lifts and all that stuff is the client's responsibility. That price of like the $145 for a day or $350 for a week, I think also includes like drop off and pickup. So Herc will like bring it to you. They'll pick it up. So the scissor lift is cool. The ones with the flat tires, the perfectly round flat tires, are really finicky about the ground being level. I've been in a lot of situations where they actually like rented me a lift, but even on like a city sidewalk or even like what appears to be a smooth parking lot, that thing it has sensors in it, and if it feels even the tiniest bit off balance, like it won't raise up, and it's super frustrating. They also make scissor lifts with like bigger round tires, like inflatable tires, versus like the perfectly flat hard tires, and those are a little bit less finicky. And then there's like the really big boys with like the it's like the boom arm, the hydraulic boom lifts, and those have like big fat tires. They can go 360 degrees, the platform. The arm can go in like any articulated position. The arm can extend out. You can adjust the basket. Those ones are super fun. You can go super high, and basically like you can leave the base of it, the wheels of it, in any location, and then like move yourself through space with this like big arm. And those are super rad because you can position yourself wherever you need to be. And they're just like really big gangster machines, and they're super fun to mess with. Still have never had any training on those. I'm sure you're supposed to wear a safety harness. I'm sure you're supposed to wear a hard hat. I never do. And when I've been to the rental place with my clients before, and the rental people are like, "You know how to use this thing?" And I'm always just like, "Yeah." And they're like, "You want us to like give you some training?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." Because I've used them before. Like, I don't know, maybe if you're working a job where you have to have insurance, which I've had before. Most of my jobs where I've had to have insurance, I haven't also had to use heavy equipment. I've just used like ladders or whatever. Those are mostly my big corporate gigs, which are usually in a corporate office, which are usually walls where it's like just a ladder. But the pros and cons, the pros are at the end of the gig, my body usually hurts a little bit less using a lift than like dragging a ladder from spot to spot to spot. Like when you're on a ladder and you need to be up high, you are on this ladder trying to kind of balance and face the wall. And your working area is basically like as wide as your arm can reach. Then you have to climb down, move the ladder, work again. But if you're up in the lift, you just like kind of drive to the new location. And the only thing that really kind of makes you sore is the physical act of painting, holding your arm out and like painting, and then kind of climbing up in and out of this basket, which isn't as bad as like up and down the ladder constantly, dragging the ladder around, and also positioning your body in precarious positions to get yourself in the correct spot on the wall when you're on the ladder. The cons are, like I said before, like with those real flat tire ones, if the ground isn't perfectly smooth, oftentimes the lift will think that it's on an uneven thing. I've found that so normally you would think that you would want to be parallel with the wall, so the basket is like horizontal with the wall, but it's way easier oftentimes for it to be kind of tippy that way. If you drive straight at the wall, you have less of a working area, but usually the overall machinery is more stable and more balanced. When I just did that Q Nightclub outdoor mural. I was using one of those flat-wheeled scissor lifts, and the only way that I could really get it to work is by driving at the wall, and my working space was a lot less, but at least the basket would go up to where I needed it to go. And they're not that expensive. Like, I don't know, to me, $350, $375 for a week is not that bad, especially if I'm not paying for it. At one point, there's a dude from Herc Rentals who worked at the Las Vegas store who was like a big fan of my art, and he was getting me discounts on all of my rentals because he loved my art, and he's like, yo, anytime you need to rent something, go through me, I'll hook you up, I'll give you the discount. But he moved on to another job, so I don't really have that discount anymore. But my clients really liked it. I was like, yo, I can get you discounts on that rental. But if you have like a really big crazy mural and you're getting paid a lot of money and the client doesn't want to rent you a lift and you want to save yourself some time and some body aches, you might even consider just like throwing down that $375 yourself. Like if you're getting paid enough to where, you know, the $375 like seems affordable, then it'll definitely like save you some time and energy and let you focus more on the art instead of like dragging your ladder around and getting it positioned where you want to be. But that is all the thoughts I have on hydraulic lifts. They're cool. They're really easy to use. Once that you kind of like figure it out. Oh, the other thing is like when you leave at night, don't leave it on. And don't forget to plug it in to charge it. It's so easy to forget. Like when you've been painting for 12 hours straight and you've got like art brain and you're like just thinking about the work you've done, thinking about whether you like it or not. Your mind is so preoccupied with painting a mural. There's an on-off switch usually up in the basket that you have to hit, and then there's another on-off switch down under the machinery that you have to hit as well, and then you have to plug an extension cord into it and charge it. And there's been quite a few times where I have forgotten to do that, and even more times where I'm at like a mural festival and there's a bunch of artists who are all kind of like sharing lifts and trying to arrange it, and then like the other artist leaves it on all night, and then you have to burn a bunch of your mural time like charging it up in the morning, and then you're like hella pissed. So don't be that artist, like, because the next artist will just be like but yeah, definitely try to remember to charge them. And that's it. That's all my thoughts on hydraulic lifts and murals, and hope that was helpful to at least you and maybe some other folks. But this is what the Patreon thing is all about. It's for like sharing this kind of stuff that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense on my YouTube channel or my other social media platforms. So thank you for the awesome question. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if you have any more questions down in the comments of this video. If there's some stuff I forgot to touch on. I'm 1000. Peace. I'm out. Thank you.